Greetings and welcome to another Pokemon 2019 or Pokemon Journeys anime episode review. This time I am talking about the final episode of this series, episode 136. So, let's get to it. Episode 136 begins with Ash and Goh battling Lugia. Pikachu and the Cinderace attack using Thunderbolt and Pyro Ball respectively. However, Lugia easily shrugs off both moves, and it counterattacks with Hydro Pump. Lucario and Inteleon use Aura Sphere and Snipe Shot respectively to fight back, but the Hydro Pump easily powers through both moves, forcing everyone to jump to the side in order to avoid its fearsome power. Realizing that Lugia is too strong, Ash and Goh decided to attack together by having Pikachu and the Cinderace both use Quick Attack to charge towards Lugia. They both then jump, and the Cinderace kicks Pikachu in order to launch him forward, which allows him to land an electrifying Quick Attack on Lugia, who finally seems to take some damage. This is a really cool tactic and moment. However, Lugia quickly recovers and it goes in for the attack. While Lucario and Inteleon counterattack with Bullet Punch and Liquidation respectively, they are no match for Lugia's tail, which sweeps all four Pokemon. But they all soon recover, just as Lugia comes back around for another attack. At Ash's behest, all the Pokemon attack together by combining their moves. Namely, Pikachu uses Thunderbolt, Lucario uses Aura Sphere, Cinderace uses Pyro Ball, Inteleon uses Mud Shot, and Grookey uses Wood Hammer. The powerful blend of moves, which looks awesome, hits Lugia head on, causing a massive explosion that covers it in a cloud of smoke. However, Lugia emerges from the smoke while roaring, showing that it is still unscathed. But despite this, Goh still tosses a Pokeball hoping to catch the legendary Pokemon. This made me scream no while pulling my hair in shock. Thankfully, Lugia uses its signature move, Aeroblast, to disintegrate the Pokeball. Aeroblast also inflicts massive damage to the cliff, knocking everyone back in the process. While they are all still alright, the ground beneath them crumbles and slides down the mountain due to the damage from Aeroblast. As they fall, Ash and Goh withdraw all their Pokemon except for Pikachu and Grookey, thus saving at least them, but condemning Ash and Goh themselves alongside Pikachu and Grookey to a seemingly hopeless situation. However, thankfully, Lugia sweeps in to save them all, much to their surprise. Lugia then proceeds to take them on a tour of the Kanto region by flying across the land. This leads to an absolutely beautiful montage that showcases a bunch of Generation 1 Pokemon living in different types of environments. This stunning collection of scenes, which is gorgeously animated, is made even better by the soundtrack that plays during it, which is an all-time classic. This montage is also quite special because it features the appearance of 3 notable Pokemon. First, Mewtwo is seen flying overhead alongside the Pokemon under its care. Second, the recurring Jigglypuff that would make everyone fall asleep with its singing is seen sleeping peacefully in a field of grass. And finally, an Abra, that is very likely the Abra Goh met as a kid, is seen on a rooftop from which it soon teleports away. I love that they snuck in these 3 Easter eggs. So, once the tour ends and Lugia is just flying calmly over the ocean, Goh exclaims that the world really is big. However, he then wonders if he can really journey across such a big world by himself. He goes on to say that he has been fine thus far only because Ash was with him, which is why he is worried now that he will have to brave the world without Ash. Ash reassures Goh by saying that Goh was picked for Project Mew, and that he even got to meet Mew, meaning that Goh is more capable than he thinks. Ash then goes on to say that in any case, if Goh is worried about something, then he should bring it up and talk about it, since they are friends. All of this makes Goh smile. Lugia then speaks. It says, "Here we go." Now surprisingly, this time, Ash is not the only one that hears Lugia. In this go-around, Goh also hears Lugia. This is in stark contrast to episode 2 of Journeys, where Lugia also spoke, but only Ash heard it. Back then, Goh did not hear it. Of course, it's possible that Goh simply did not hear it because Lugia was doing some crazy maneuvers that made it difficult to hear anything. Or maybe Goh was just distracted, which is understandable when a legendary Pokemon is flying and diving at high speeds with you on its back. Here in episode 136, things are a lot calmer and quieter, thus making it easier to hear Lugia speak. However, I think that in order to hear Lugia speak, you need to be worthy and/or you need to have certain qualities or traits. Ash had and still has these traits or qualities, and he was and still is worthy. Goh meanwhile lacked said traits or qualities, and he was not worthy. But this is no longer the case now. His journey, everything he did and learned, made him worthy, and allowed him to acquire the traits and the qualities required to be able to hear Lugia. I think that Goh getting to hear Lugia now is meant to signify just how far he has come. So, Ash wonders where Lugia intends to go, but Lugia does not answer. Instead, it flies into a huge cloud. Inside this cloud, Ho-Oh appears, and it flies alongside Lugia. This surprises Ash, Goh, and it surprised me. I definitely did not expect to see Ho-Oh in this episode. After staring at Ash and Goh, Ho-Oh flies away, exiting the cloud in the process. Lugia follows Ho-Oh, meaning that it, Ash, and Goh also leave the cloud. And beyond the cloud, they find a magnificent sight that shows that the rainbow Pokemon lives up to its name. This marvelous spectacle dazzles Ash and Goh, who exclaim in unison that Pokemon really are awesome. Ash then says that this is why he wants to go on a journey. Goh surmises that Ash means that he is after the thrill and excitement of meeting new Pokemon. Ash confirms that this is true, that he wants to see, learn off, and make friends with more Pokemon. Goh says that he wants to do all of this as well, and that if all of this leads to him learning more about Pokemon and the world, then he might be able to face and become friends with Mew. Ash says that it's great that Goh wants to be friends with Mew. The two of them then bump fists, showing that they support and embrace each other's decision to set off on a journey alone. Goh then exclaims that he will go on a journey as well. So, now that he has Ash's blessing and encouragement, Goh is able to finally commit to what he wants to do. Ash then screams in excitement, likely because he and Goh reconciled, meaning that they can now part ways on a positive note. Lugia then roars, seemingly to celebrate that Ash and Goh settled their differences and are now ready and excited to begin their new journeys. I think that it's possible that this is what Lugia was after. This is why it appeared so suddenly. The episode then cuts to Chloe, who is at the campsite waiting for Ash and Goh, who soon return alongside Lugia, much to Chloe's understandable surprise. The episode then cuts to Cerise Institute, where Ash and Goh reveal to Professor Cerise their intention to embark on a journey. Professor Cerise accepts their decision and he tells them to go for it. Ash and Goh thank him, but Professor Cerise says that he should be thanking them since they helped him, Krisa and Ren, understand the Pokemon even more. Krisa then says that she hopes that Ash and Goh enjoy their journeys, even if they are gone for a long time, while Ren says that he hopes that Ash and Goh will remember to keep in touch. Ash and Goh both respond to Krisa and Ren with an energetic yes. Goh then wonders if Professor Cerise is sure about letting them go, since he will no longer have research fellows. But Chloe reveals that she and Eevee will be research fellows in Ash and Goh's stead. This shocks Ash and Goh. Chloe says that she also wants to learn more about Pokemon and the world, and that since Eevee has a lot of different evolutions, there might be even more that they just don't know about. Hopefully, this is hinting that there will be a new evolution. Chloe then says that she will only be a research fellow on weekends, since she still needs to go to school. Ash says that he hopes that he and Goh will get to run into Chloe somewhere. Goh then says that his only other concern is his Pokemon in Cerise Park. But Chloe, Professor Cerise, Yamper, Krisa, and Ren assure him that they will take care of them, which is something Goh is thankful for. Chloe then wonders when Ash and Goh are planning to leave. They both exclaim tomorrow in unison, much to Chloe's surprise. The episode then cuts to Team Rocket, who are talking with Giovanni in person. Team Rocket says that through their flawless maneuvers, they have discovered the strongest Pokemon in the world, aka Pikachu. Giovanni wonders where this Pokemon is, and the Team Rocket says that it is within their reach and that they can capture it whenever they want. Now, while the first part is not a lie, the second one most definitely is, as proven by hundreds, if not thousands, of failed attempts at catching Pikachu. But Giovanni, who is likely not aware of all those failures, says that he is counting on them. Funny, I don't remember Giovanni having so much confidence in the Team Rocket trio. I do love though that they now have factual proof of something that they have been sure of from the start, which is that Pikachu is incredibly strong. After their meeting with Giovanni, Team Rocket rejoices, since their boss believes in them and because they can expect a promotion if they catch Pikachu. The episode then cuts to Cerise Institute, where Ash and Goh, after cleaning their room, decide to go feed the Pokemon at the park. Once they get to the park, however, they are shocked when they see that all their Pokemon, Professor Oak, Ash's mother, Chloe, Krisa, Ren, Chloe's family, and Goh's family are here for a surprise party to commemorate Ash and Goh's departure. Said party takes place in a montage where we see that they all have a ton of fun playing and eating together. I love that the scientists all get to nerd out together, that the mothers get to talk to each other, that Go's grandmother sings for the Pokemon, and that Suicune is here. Perhaps it sensed that its trainer is about to set off on a journey. The montage continues on to the next day. Ash and Goh get ready to depart, and after bidding farewell to Chloe, Professor Cerise, Krisa, and Ren, they finally leave Cerise Institute. The montage concludes when Ash and Goh are on their way to leaving Vermilion City. Just as Ash exclaims that the weather is nice, Pikachu is stolen by Team Rocket. Ash exclaims that Team Rocket are at it again. However, they exclaim that there is no again for them, since they are eternal, forever chasing Pikachu until they can finally catch him and present him to their boss. Clearly, their meeting with Giovanni reinvigorated their desire to steal Pikachu. While Pikachu tries to free himself with Thunderbolt, the glass cage he is in is electricity proof, a fact that Meowth brags about. But unfortunately for Team Rocket, Morpeko, in its unending hunger, bites the cage, freeing Pikachu, who promptly gets rid of Team Rocket, who blast off again as usual. After Team Rocket is dealt with, Ash and Goh continue walking, and they soon leave the city. Ash wonders where Goh will go. Goh says that he will first tour around the Kanto, since there are places he has not been to yet. Goh then wonders where Ash will go. Ash says that he has not decided. He will simply walk and keep walking, going whatever way he wants to go. Once they reach a fork in the road, Goh wonders which way Ash will go. Ash decides to walk straight ahead, and Goh follows him. Goh exclaims that this is great, because the way you decide to go will determine what Pokemon you will meet and what adventures you will have. Ash agrees, and he says that the choice is theirs. They both then keep walking until they reach another fork in the road. They pick which way they want to go in unison, and since they both choose a different way, this is where they decide to finally part ways. Ash says that he is glad that he met Goh, and he thanks Goh, who wonders what has gotten into Ash all of a sudden. Goh says that Ash is going to make him cry, but he then thanks Ash for reaching out to him. Ash says that they could find something even more amazing waiting just up ahead. Goh agrees, and the two of them say Goh's catchphrase in unison while bumping fists. And with this, they finally go their separate ways, which does not have the emotional punch of the farewell scenes in previous series. But I would be lying if I said that I did not feel at least a little sad and melancholic. While Ash and Goh both walk forward with determination, Goh soon stops, and feeling disheartened, he is about to cry. But Ash, who clearly anticipated this, calls out to Goh, and he tells Goh to make sure that he finds and befriends Mew. Goh says that he will, and he tells Ash to make sure that he becomes a Pokemon Master. Ash says that he will. With this final push, Goh is able to rush forth down his chosen path, finally parting ways with Ash in the process. Since Goh is well on his way, Ash is finally free to run down the path he chose, knowing that Goh is no longer dependent on him. As he runs, Ash wonders if Pikachu remembers the day they left Pallet Town. Ash says that the Pokemon and the world around them were all shining very bright, just like they are now. Ash then jumps while screaming in excitement. The episode then cuts to the opening, which did not play at or near the beginning of the episode. Instead, it plays at this point late into the episode as befits a final episode. Now, while the opening starts off as normal, it soon becomes a collection of key moments from the series, which is fitting given that, again, this is the final episode. We essentially get a short movie that showcases and highlights some of the most significant and noteworthy moments from the series, which makes this an amazing segment to end the series on. However, since they use the full version of the opening song, they have plenty of time in this assortment of scenes, which allows them to go beyond just showing important moments from the past. Once they have shown us plenty of what came before, they also show us what came after. Namely, what happens after Ash and Goh set off on their journeys. The moments worth noting here are that Ash reunites with his Butterfree, which is a great and emotional surprise. That Goh meets Misty, who is delighted to see Inteleon, a water-type Pokemon she likely has never seen. That Leon apparently opened the battle tower given the outfit he is wearing. That Hop is undergoing some training since he is seen battling Bee. That Gary took Horace to meet Professor Oak. That Danika and Quillon are still exploring and studying the world since they are seen in a harsh environment caring for a Beartic and a Cupchew. That Chloe is indeed traveling all over the world, and that Mimey returned to Ash's house, where we also get to see some nice and cool pictures. Once the opening ends, the episode cuts to Chloe, who is in an unknown city or town taking a picture of a trio of Cherim, likely as part of her work as a research fellow. After taking the picture, Chloe walks away with Eevee in hand while wondering where Ash and Goh are and what they are doing. A Beautifly then flies by Chloe. This Beautifly soon flies by Goh, who just caught an unknown Pokemon, and by Ash, who is in the middle of a battle. So Ash, Chloe, and Goh are coincidentally in the same city/town, though they of course don't know this. I love that while they are all in the same place, they are doing their own thing and living out their own adventure. Ash's Lucario soon uses Aura Sphere to easily defeat the opposing trainer's Lapras, while Team Rocket watches from overhead, clearly waiting for a chance to steal Pikachu. The episode ends with the narrator saying that the world of Pokemon stretches out endlessly, and that the adventures of Ash, Chloe, and Goh will continue. And if he says that they will continue, then they will. We of course know for sure that there will indeed be more Ash in the near future, but we learn here that we have not seen the last of Chloe and Goh just yet. So overall, I think that this episode was good. Taken as a standard episode, it's very good. But taken as what it is, the final episode of a series, it did leave a little to be desired, since it was nowhere near as emotional as it should have been, especially when compared to previous final episodes. The battle against Lugia is something that I was looking forward to a lot, and while it was pretty good, it was way too short, and it had an unsatisfying ending, since Ash and Goh did not catch or defeat Lugia. It was, however, nice to see them fly with Lugia again, just like they did back when they met. The shots of nature and Pokemon that were shown as they flew with Lugia were simply beautiful, and we even got to see Mewtwo and Jigglypuff again, which is amazing. Plus, Lugia even took Ash and Goh to see Ho-Oh, which was awesome. Not only because it's amazing to see the tower duo together, especially since this is the first time that this has happened in the anime, but also because of the significance Ho-Oh has when it comes to Ash's journey. Ash saw Ho-Oh when he first started his journey and when he parted ways with Misty and Brock. So it's fitting that he sees Ho-Oh now when he is about to start a new journey and part with another friend. Also, since Lugia was there when Goh began his journey, and Lugia even led to the start of Ash and Goh's journey together, it's quite fitting and significant that the tower duo appear in this episode together, since they both get to be there for the beginning of a journey, the end of a journey, the day when friends part ways, the day when two people become friends and decide to travel together, and the day when said friends conclude their journey together. Lugia and Ho-Oh are like guardian angels, which might explain why Lugia seemingly appeared so Ash and Goh can reconcile. Added to all of this, the fact that Lugia and Ho-Oh are a duo just like Ash and Goh, and the parallels and the symbolism here are just way too amazing, which is something I love. The farewell party for Ash and Goh was fun, and I am glad that the two of them got to reconcile and part ways on a positive note. Though I think that their goodbye was a little lacking, given the relative lack of emotion, and how vague they were regarding what they will do next, which made for a very open-ended and unfulfilling conclusion. I do, however, love that Chloe became a research fellow, which means that she gets to travel all over the world with Eevee. Hopefully, this will allow Chloe to appear again in the future, with Eevee having evolved or evolving into a new evolution. I also love that they did a great job of catching us up on most of the key characters while also providing some nice surprises. So yeah, overall, this episode was good. It's just that it needed to have more of an emotional punch, and it needed to feel a lot more conclusive while still leaving the door open for future adventures, instead of feeling like they needed more time to tie up all the loose ends in a tidy bow. But that's the video. As always, leave your own thoughts down in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did and would like to see more like it, then please consider subscribing to my channel. I love Pokemon and I love making videos on both the anime and the games. Also, please consider clicking the links on screen so that you can check out more videos like this right away. Thank you very much for watching, and let's meet again in the next video.